What is going on, guys? I am back today to talk about another movie, and I'm still a little bit under the weather, so my voice is a little bit still off, so I apologize for that. But today I'm going to be talking about another found footage movie. For some reason, recently, amidst all the other types of movies that I've been watching, I've got a hankering to go in and watch some found footage films. And this is from a director who, if you followed me all through last year on my YouTube, I reviewed a lot of this director's films. I actually found out about him through a found footage group that I'm in on Facebook, and they were talking about his movies, and I think I ended up watching 3 or 4 of his films last year. And despite liking all of them to different degrees and disliking some of them extremely, I've always respected what this director has been able to accomplish with the very little that he has. Obviously, he makes these movies on very small budgets, but he somehow always manages to impress me and to do things that are really unique and different than I would expect. And that director is Isaac Rodriguez. And I saw another one of his videos on Tubi that I'd never watched before, and I decided to check it out. And the movie I'm going to be talking about with you today is The Stream. The Stream is directed by Isaac Rodriguez. In the wake of her boyfriend's suicide, a young woman and her friend discover a live video stream that sets off a nightmarish chain of events. So I went into this movie knowing virtually nothing about it whatsoever, other than it was directed by Isaac. And as I said, I've liked a lot of his work that I've seen in the past. And what I will say is, this movie is not my favorite of the films that Isaac has made, and I think there's a lot of things about it that are really rough around the edges. But what I will say is I really respect Isaac for how surreal and subversive and abstract this movie is comparatively to the rest of the films that I've seen in his catalog. You can tell he was really trying to make something kind of off the cuff for this style of movie, and that's what I really liked about it, is just how different it was and the approach to the filmmaking. And there's cliche jump scares in it, and there's moments that you would expect, but there's also a lot of things that I did not expect about it at all, and I'm excited to tell you a little bit about it today. So at the beginning of the movie, the camera slowly moves into this house, and we see this young woman in her living room, and the door closes, and then we go into the house. We see her in her kitchen washing dishes, and we hear this report over the radio in her living room, and all her stuff is kind of packed up in boxes, and the camera is moving almost in a one take motion. It's almost like the camera never cuts. And if it does, it's very subtle. And she gets a knock on the door, and it's her friend, and the two of them start to have a conversation together. And we find out the woman we were introduced to initially, that her boyfriend had recently committed suicide, and she's grieving the loss of her boyfriend. And throughout the film, the two of them start to hear strange noises in the house, and weird things start to happen. And they end up going into her boyfriend's room, which she has not gone into since he died. And they go in, and there's all these pictures on the wall of this person laying in a bed, and that image is on a laptop streaming on his desk in his room. And the two of them are like super shocked by it. And after they discover that in the room, they hear another thing over the radio, and all this weird stuff starts to happen while they're in the house. And the other girl ends up disappearing at specific points. Our lead character ends up jumping in and out of the house, and in this like weird decrepit looking house at one point, where it just feels like she's in this alternate type of reality. And the film is just us trying to discover, what is this stream? What is it causing in our lead character? And is there any way to escape this entity involved with it? So as I said, this isn't my favorite of Isaac's work, but I do really appreciate how abstract and surreal and strange that it is. There's a lot of camera movements at the beginning of the film that feel like one take sequences, where it feels like Isaac was trying not to cut, and you almost are wondering, what is the perspective that you're seeing this from? Is this like the dead boyfriend moving throughout the house? Is it the entity that they're talking about? And it really has this creepy and unsettling feeling, which I really appreciated. A lot of the practical effects that they use, I think for the limited budget, they look pretty good. I was really impressed with a lot of the moments that were genuinely scary. There's this moment where there's like these plastic body bags laying all over the floor. There's this one character that gets introduced who delivers some exposition in the middle of the movie that's very creepy, the way that he shows up. And I really liked that element of the movie a lot as well. We don't get a whole lot of information about the stream. There's like these things that are implied. And I think that was Isaac's way of trying to keep it as surreal and abstract as possible to where you, as the viewer, can kind of build that in your head and decide what you want it to be. And I like that part of the movie a lot. I think what really took me out of the movie in moments is for its runtime, it gets a little repetitive, especially really early in the film, to where a lot of the sequences just feel like you're seeing the same thing over and over and over again. And there is an element of repetitiveness that is a thematic part of the film that I can appreciate that comes into play later on in the movie. But at the beginning of the film, I just felt like there were a lot of moments that could have been more streamlined or something else could have happened to really pull your attention and keep you engaged with what was going on in the film. Also, this one is incredibly rough around the edges. There's moments where you can like see the cameraman and the reflection of furniture, which also kind of takes you out of it when you can see that really clearly on the camera. And I know when you're working with a smaller budget and a smaller crew, things like that are bound to happen. But it's hard to stay completely immersed and absorbed in a world when you can see the camera or you can see the boom mic in those moments. And some of the jump scares are like the most cheap, run of the mill jump scares that you can imagine. And I know Isaac, throughout his career, has blended different styles and stuff, but I almost wish this would have just gone full on abstract rather than like try to keep the generic formulaic jump scares in the movie. But I think there are some really cool things to pull from this. And I think that for a low budget found footage movie, it takes a lot of risks. And despite the fact that it's not my favorite in Isaac's catalog, it's still a really interesting movie to watch if you're a fan of found footage and you want to see someone take a very drastic risk with the medium. So have you seen the stream? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I thought the movie was okay. I enjoyed elements about it. The thing I really enjoyed was how many risks it took, but it still falls into a lot of the tropes that a lot of these movies have. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.